Welcome, warriors, archers, shields, and cavalry. I am your knight with a tiny plate for a shield, and today we will be covering the defenders. The defenders are a very tanky unit and an upgrade to the shields. So let's shield bash our way right into these differences. So the first few differences are going to be a little plus. They get an extra 10-point increase in their health. I know, so tanky. The defenders also get a 25-point increase in armor, which does not sound like much, but it actually helps out quite a lot in certain battles in this game. And they also have a 150-point bonus to the shield, which I personally have never seen a shield break before, but you know, maybe you're one of those people that only goes up against 3-stack archer squads. I don't know. The defenders lose 30 attack points and lose 6 walk speed. Now, that's where it really hits, because the 30 attack points means that you are not going to be able to output as much damage. But we'll get more into that when I review the unit and say if you should buy it or not. Okay, we're moving on to the new ability of the defenders. They come with Skiltron, and Skiltron is a really good ability. Actually, the Roman units have a different version of it. A little different formation because the corners aren't filled in the Roman ones. But basically, it allows you to form a square and block all directions with shields, so that you take less damage and your shields can take more damage. Now, the question is, should you buy this unit? And I'd say it really depends on a lot of things, like what are you playing with people? It depends on your interests and what you like to do in the battle. If you enjoy being a support to tank to soak up damage, then yeah, this works for you. Because you can be on the front lines and take as much beating as you like, as long as your allies are helping out. And I would say that with friends, yeah, you can guaranteed get that role if you so choose. Do you have bad teammates? If you do, if you have that archer player that keeps chasing after the cavalry, or maybe the cavalry that keeps chasing after the spears, then maybe not. Maybe you are not fit for this unit, or it's not fit for you, rather. Because it's not going to carry you. It's just not. It's meant to soak up damage, and it does that pretty well, but other than that, it doesn't really do much. It's also good early for Thermopylae. I mean, if you have a 3-squad, or 3-stack, and you, in Thermopylae, you want to play it, but you just don't have the money for newer units, then this is a pretty good upgrade. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I would say it will work way better than the shielders would. Now, whether or not you choose to buy this unit, I'm gonna give you some tips on how to use them. As you know, we don't repeat tips. However, if something should change between units, I think it's plausible to revise some tips. Such as, you remember that shield wall trick I taught you from the shielders video? Where if you get surrounded, you should pull your troops back and reform the wall to get your advantage, and also so they cannot do much damage to you. Well, that was just barely able to be pulled off, and as you could see from swords and stuff, you still took a little bit of damage, but you were just barely able to reform because you had just enough walk speed. Now, for the shielders, that was easy, but for the defenders, you can't do that as well. Because with their less, the walk speed is lowered, so the less walk speed they have, the harder it is to do this, and since it was just barely possible with the shielders, it is not any more possible with the defenders. Because when you try to pull back, say if the enemy hero goes around, they start hitting your back, you pull them back, their units get a really big margin to hit on yours, and your units can't really outrun them even after they have time to recalculate their AI. So, in turn, instead of using Shield Wall, use Skiltron a lot. It is one of the best ways to soak damage for your allies, and as I stated before, that's basically what this unit is meant for. It's one of the best ways to soak damage without taking too much damage. because your armor is going to help you, but you also don't want to be taking the damage if you don't have to. Now, stay inside your troops during the skill trun because you will save a ton of health by doing this. Like, if you want to get beat up, sure, run into the Crusaders. But if you don't want to get beat up, keep your skill trun, stick with your troops, maybe do some heavy attacks or use your abilities from inside the skill trun to hit enemies. And remember, you are the front line. You were made to be the front line. You were not made to be the front line that hurts people, but you were made to be the tank. The barrier that blocks damage. Since you cannot apply damage, try to take aggro from your allies, whether it be cavalry, spears, anything, to allow the enemies to hit you. And if the enemies are hitting you, then your allies can hit the enemies without losing too many units. Because remember, your troops can tank a lot more, especially because they have a shield standing up for them, while your ally likely doesn't have that unless they're playing a tankier shield unit. But overall, this is not a bad unit. It's very situational, and it really depends on what you're looking for in a unit. But anyways, guys, that's going to be all for this guide. I hope to see you in the next one. And that is Medieval Zayak retiring from duty for now.